Have you ever heard of a man who married twins? Not one twin by mistake, but two sisters, at the same time, willingly, lovingly, and somehow lived to tell the story. They said he was either the luckiest man alive or the most confused man on earth. His name was Austin, and this is the story that made his name echo in every corner of town: the man who married twins. Austin was a calm, quiet man, respectful, hardworking, and humble. He wasn't rich, but he was decent. He always minded his business, wore clean shirts, and smiled politely at everyone. People said he was the kind of man any woman would be proud to marry. And one hot afternoon, love found him, not once, but twice. He first met Rose at the market. She was arguing with a trader over plantain. 2,000 naira for one bunch? Are you selling gold or food? The trader shouted back, if you can't buy, go and pluck your own from the bush. Austin stood nearby, pretending to check tomatoes but secretly enjoying the drama. Then Rose turned to him sharply and said, "Excuse me, sir, are you laughing at me?" Austin stammered, "No, no. I just like the way you defend your money." She smiled. So you like stubborn women, Abby?" He smiled back. "Only when they are beautiful." That was how it began. A few days later, at the church, Austin saw her again, or so he thought. The woman turned around, and he said, "Rose." She laughed gently. "Oh no, I'm Ruth, her twin sister." Austin blinked. "Her what?" "Her twin," Ruth said. "Don't worry, it happens all the time." She was softer, quieter, and more graceful than Rose, like sunshine after rain. And just like that, confusion entered Austin's peaceful life. From that day, Austin started seeing both of them, not by plan, just by accident. If he went to Rosa's house, Ruth would be the one serving food. If he visited Ruth, Rose would come in laughing, holding roasted corn. Austin told himself it was just friendship. But at night, when he looked at his phone, he couldn't tell which twin he was texting. One evening, he sent, "Good night, my love," and within 2 minutes, both replied, "Good night, dear." Austin dropped his phone and whispered, "God, please, if this is a test, I'm already failing." But love doesn't listen to logic. He fell for both of them. Rose, the fire. Ruth, the peace. Two halves of one heart. When the truth came out, all hell broke loose. Rose found Ruth's messages. Ruth found Rosa's photo on his phone. They stormed his house together one evening. Rose shouted, "Austin, who do you love? Me or my sister?" Austin froze like a statue. He looked at both of them. Same eyes, same smile, and whispered, "My God, how do you expect a man to choose between the sun and the moon?" Ruth began to cry. Rosa's anger melted into pain. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Ruth said quietly, "Maybe he loves us both." And Rose said, "Then maybe we should both love him." People in town laughed when they heard. They said, "That man has signed his early death." But the twins were serious. They loved him too much to let one sister suffer. And so, they decided to share him, equally. Their father nearly collapsed when he heard. He shouted, "Over my dead body." But the twins knelt down, begging. At last, he raised his hands and said, "Whatever happens, don't come back to cry to me." And that was how, quietly and shockingly, Austin married both sisters. At first, life was sweet. The house smelled of food and laughter. They cooked together, joked together, even prayed together. Austin used to joke, "Two wives, double blessing." And Rose would reply, "Or double wahala, let's wait and see." Well, wahala didn't take long. Jealousy sneaked in like a thief. If Austin gave Rose a compliment, Ruth would frown silently. If he stayed too long in Ruth's room, Rose would start coughing loudly. One day, both of them cooked dinner, two different soups, and waited to see which one Austin would eat first. He entered the kitchen, looked at both pots, looked at both women, and said, "Ah, my stomach is doing meeting. I'll eat tomorrow." They laughed, but the tension didn't stop. Then one night, it happened. A big argument. Rose shouted, "He loves you more." Ruth cried, "No, he loves you more." Austin shouted, "Please, can somebody love me less?" But Jokes couldn't fix it anymore. The next morning, Ruth quietly packed her bag. She left a note that said, "Love is not supposed to be a competition. Tell Rose I will always be her sister." Austin chased after her, but she was gone. Months passed. Rose became quiet. The house was too still. She missed Ruth more than she could admit. Austin sat by the window every evening, watching the road, hoping she'd return. One day, he finally found her, in another town, teaching children. She looked peaceful. When she saw him, she smiled softly. "You came all this way?" He nodded. "I had to see you." She touched his hand. "Don't worry, I'm fine. You should go back home. Rose needs you," he said. "And what about me?" She smiled sadly. "You already have both halves of my heart. Keep them safe." She never returned. Years passed. Rose stayed with Austin. They grew older, raised children, and built a quiet, gentle life. But sometimes, at night, Rose would whisper, "Do you still think of her?" And Austin would sigh, "Every day." When Ruth died years later after childbirth, Austin cried like a child. He buried her under a mango tree and visited her grave every year with flowers. People still talk about him. They say, "That's Austin, the man who married twins." Some say he was cursed. Some say he was blessed. But those who understand love know the truth. He didn't choose the twins. Love chose him. And love, when divided, always leaves a scar. Moral of the story: love is a gift, but it's not meant to be shared between two hearts at the same time. Because when two people fight for one soul, somebody always ends up bleeding.